The co-main event was for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest versus the Ring General and the King of the Ring, Gunther. All right. So, man, I am so glad to see this match because when Seth Rollins came back, I was thinking, oh, they're going to do what Vince McMahon back in his time of his later years of booking would have done a lot, which was like, okay, let's take the more established star. And I understand you have to use the established star to get the younger, newer talent over, just like they did with The Rock at SummerSlam being the established star to help put over Brock Lesnar. But there were also times a lot where it felt like, man, we're kind of going back to the same old established stars. And it's like, unless you put these new talents, these new guys and gals in these high profile positions, how are they ever going to get over to that next level? So I was glad to see Damian Priest win, because what we have here in this match was a first time world champion taking on a first time #1 contender for the world championship. So I'm like, man, this is awesome. This is Triple H taking, hey, you two guys are new to our main event scene, and this is your opportunity to go out on a big 4 pay-per-view and lay it all down the line. And I thought they did a great job. I thought the build-up was good, and the match itself, man, it was awesome. This is something right here that we saw with Damian Priest, man, because he was really taking it to Gunther in this match. I think more so since the last time we seen Gunther in this much trouble in the ring was probably against Sheamus. Gunther already had a pretty bruise on him from his previous match with Finn Balor, and it was bleeding heavily all through this match and everything. So it was really good to see, and there was a lot of great back and forth action. Of course, though, the big story of the match comes when Finn Balor comes out to the ring, and you can just imagine this was going to be Shenanigan City, which it was. So eventually, Damian Priest, he starts unloading a lot of big shots on Gunther, and he hits Gunther with the South of Heaven choke slam. And I was a little confused at this point, because instead of Gunther rolling over to the ring, you end up getting Damian Priest pushing him into the ring. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. If Gunther is in the middle of the ring, why wouldn't you just go for the pinfall? Why are you rolling him to potentially put his foot on the rope? Now, I don't know if there was just some sort of miscue, and obviously with what happened next, that's why they had to do it. But yeah, that kind of just threw me off. But anyway, nonetheless, Damian Priest, he goes for the pinfall with Gunther now closer to the ropes, and it's from here that Finn Balor places Gunther's legs on the rope. And then they replay it, and on the big screen, Damian Priest, he realizes exactly what's going to go down. And hold on, we have a commenter here. Let's go ahead and show here. What do we have here? Roman Reigns still looks good and will always be the tribal chief. He is a great athlete. Hey, Patricia, thank you so much for coming by the stream, and I agree. Roman Reigns, definitely tribal chief. I'll be speaking more about him later on in this review. But yeah, thank you for coming by the stream and commenting. And then from here, getting back to the Damian Priest match here with Finn Balor. So we get this thing here where Gunther puts Damian Priest into the sleeper hold. And man, when he gets put into the sleeper, wow, they did a great job with the camera action here. Like Damian Priest and Finn Balor are just like kind of giving each other death stares. Damian Priest is fading out, and Finn Balor's just looking devious. It's very similar to the death stare Finn Balor was giving him 1 year prior at SummerSlam 2023. And I gotta be honest, they had me here. I thought this is how the match was gonna end, and out of nowhere, when he goes for the referee goes for the arm drop, Damian Priest is like, no, I'm not in it, and the audience is trying to rile up Damian Priest, and I was like, oh snap, are they actually gonna do it? Are they actually gonna have Damian Priest win here? And he gets up, and when he finally gets breaks out of Gunther's hold, man, Gunther, instead of finishing off Gunther, he goes for Finn Balor. Damian Priest goes for Finn Balor and goes ahead and just starts choking him. And that's where Gunther's able to come back, hit the power bomb, and put him into, yet again, another sleeper hold. And from there, this time, Damian Priest is fading. He's fading, and they're doing these great shots of Finn Balor just giving him this evil death stare. Go to sleep. Just go to sleep. That's pretty much what his face was saying. And you have Damian Priest, and he finally fades off. And then the referee checks the arm, arm, and that's it. Damian Priest is out. So the last thing Damian Priest saw before he was fading out is Finn Balor, the person he considered a brother, looking at him evil. You know, this was like Simba and Mufasa. Think about Mufasa in The Lion King, when Mufasa's like, brother, help me. And then, he ends up putting his claws into Mufasa and he says, long live the king. And he basically just lets him go. And you see that part where the last thing he sees is his brother betraying him as he falls and gets trampled to death by the wildebeest. That's kind of what it reminded me of for all my Disney and WWE fans out there. But as a result, we now have a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the King of the Ring and the Ring General, Gunther. And from there, Gunther basically, it looks like he celebrated with his, I think that was either his girlfriend or wife and another guy that was probably a good friend or family member of his. And he even gets on the announce table with the World Championship. What I really like about Gunther's rise, it felt to me like that ladder rise, basically, that we used to get so often in WWE. I miss those days when you would have someone come in like Gunther. He came in, got a big push, then he got an Intercontinental Championship, and he was booked strong as the Intercontinental Champion. And then he got the King of the Ring win to go ahead and justify him getting into a big match at SummerSlam for the world title, and then he wins the World Championship. I miss that build, and I'm hoping that we see more of it. I want to see LA Knight and Bron Breakker built up like that as well with their mid-card champions. It just is so good, because back going into like the Vince McMahon era in later his years, there were times where you would have say like AJ Styles or Kevin Owens, people who would kind of win their world championships pretty early into their runs, and then they lose, and after about like a 6-month reign or so, they lose their title, and then they would kind of get these mid-card title reigns. Even AJ Styles, he ended up having a year-long reign, but then after that, they were kind of like just in the mid-card championship for years to come, and it just felt like it should have been the opposite. You should have built them up with the mid-card titles and world titles. Now, I obviously understand why they wanted to push AJ Styles, a lot more sooner right off the bat, but I think it just works so much more effective when you have somebody build up to the mid-card championship, and it sort of preps them for the world championship. So it was good to see that, and it was good to see this full circle coming 1 year, they came full circle 1 year around, because that was the story last year. Finn Balor and Damian Priest were at odds. Finn Balor didn't know if Damian Priest was gonna go ahead and try to screw him over with the briefcase and stuff like that, and you saw that death stare he gave him, but they worked it out, and they were cool for almost a better part of a year, to the point where it made it look like WWE forgot, and they were just cool. And then we came back around where they started teasing dissension, and then there you go, Finn Balor has cost Damian Priest the championship. And this goes back to what I was going to say earlier with Rhea and Damian Priest. The Judgment Day was really cool, because it really breathed new life into Finn Balor, and it really allowed Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley to develop themselves as characters on these shows, and as a result, they became way more popular than they were before, and it really helped them as those performers. And I think what's happened here is, you could kind of say they've outgrown the Judgment Day. They've outgrown them in the sense that Rhea is a popular babyface that can go solo now. She doesn't need Dominik Mysterio or the Judgment Day anymore. Damian Priest doesn't need the Judgment Day anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure behind the scenes they're all like family. But in terms of what we are seeing on this show from a character and story standpoint, I think it's time. It's time for Damian and Rhea to go solo. They'll be just fine. I don't think this is necessarily the end of the Judgment Day. For all we know, hey, this is probably Liv Morgan being brought into the Judgment Day, and what we're going to have is now a new Judgment Day. So I think what we've seen here is Rhea and Damian both being what's the word? I believe it's exiled. Yes, they've been exiled from the Judgment Day. So that's what it looks like. I definitely think this is the right move. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, like I said, they both really have come a long way since then. So I thought a lot of great stuff was effective here, and this was one of those matches I wasn't sure. Like, I figured if Damian Priest won here, he for sure wasn't gonna win in the next pay-per-view, where I think they're going to Bash and Burlem. So it looks like Gunther is going to enter his home country as the champion. So yeah, that was really good.